Welcome to the 7shifts audio series. Audio series is an oral version of 7shifts blog posts, created to help restaurant owners and operators learn new ways to simplify their lives. From labor management to operations to marketing and everything in between, the 7shifts blog has you covered.
Hello, and welcome to 7shifts audio series. Simple, smart ideas for restaurant owners and operators to grow their business and make their lives easier. 7shifts is scheduling software made to simplify labor management, one shift at a time. We help restaurants improve performance, freeing up time for managers to focus on serving their customers. Today, we're going to talk about why restaurants should create a comprehensive staff training manual. We'll also go through how to create one for your restaurant. Having a training manual is extremely important for one reason: turnover. The restaurant industry has a reputation for high staff turnover. 2018 saw a record-high 74.9% staff turnover. And while a portion of the statistic is inevitable, given the demographic of restaurant employees, this figure represents a problem that needs to be resolved. The situation has become more serious now that COVID-19 has devastated businesses, with an estimated 5 million restaurant workers losing their jobs this year alone. That's 1/3 of all restaurant jobs. But as restaurants start to reopen, many unemployed and furloughed restaurant workers will be eager to start working as soon as possible. As you ramp up hiring again, there will be a huge influx of applications, so it's essential you get your post-COVID recruitment right. For more tips on effective recruitment, check out our COVID recruitment blog post on our website, 7shifts.com/COVID-19-resources. Pandemic or otherwise staff turnover eats into your profitability and wastes a considerable amount of a manager's time. The more staff you have to replace, the more money you have to spend on recruitment, and the more time you have to spend interviewing and training. This takes your attention away from your core management responsibilities. Plus, a continuous stream of new, untrained staff can lead to mistakes and poor guest service. In order to help new staff learn the ropes, you need to create a comprehensive restaurant staff training manual. It will be everyone's, both new and existing employees, guide for instructions, processes, and all the answers to common questions. It'll also be a great reference point to ensure all staff feel engaged and supported. Providing a training manual to new staff also suggests you take their role and career development seriously. By including them in your vision for the restaurant and providing tips on how they can improve their own food service skills, you're putting trust and responsibility in their hands from day one. That sense of ownership is a key part of a person's job satisfaction. So let's dive further into why it's so important to create a training manual for your restaurant. Reason 1. Restaurant staff training manuals improve service and reduce turnover. We've all been in situations where we ask a new staff member why they're doing something a certain way, and they usually reply something like, "Well, they told me to do it like this." Miscommunication and errors are common in staff training, as everyone has their own way of doing things. By creating your own training manual, you will eliminate these types of errors and inconsistencies and ensure everyone receives the same training. This helps deliver a consistent level of support for your staff and consistent service to your customers. Even your most seasoned staff can forget things. Keeping a training manual at service stations or behind bars gives everyone a source of truth and helps iron out those little mistakes. When questions or uncertainties arise, they can just check the manual. Many restaurants also rely on their most experienced staff to deliver training and keep the ship sailing smoothly. The problem is, you don't want all of that institutional knowledge to exist only in those people's heads. If they were to leave or be on vacation, you may find yourself in a situation where there's no one to train your new employees. It's important you lean on your senior staff to help create the training manual. They're the ones on the ground and can provide helpful insights into daily tasks. This will also help them feel included and a part of building something bigger. Running a restaurant is a team sport, and your training manual should be a living ecosystem where everyone can contribute and help improve training, service, and performance. You should actively encourage staff to think of new ideas for your restaurant. Making them feel part of something will create greater attachment and pride in their work. The second reason creating a training manual is so important is this: your training sets the standard for your restaurant. It goes without saying that you care about your employees, but if you're running a large operation, employees can feel disconnected and disposable. It's important your training includes team building and fosters a positive spirit, bringing everyone together to make them feel part of something rewarding. When you're running a restaurant, you can get caught up in the day-to-day whirlwind of it all and forget about the bigger picture. That is the why behind your business, the reason you started a restaurant in the first place. Your restaurant training guide should have a section that focuses on your grand vision, highlighting your mission statement and goals for the future. And it should spell out how your new staff members will be a part of making that vision a reality. Don't have a mission statement for your restaurant? Don't panic. We will walk you through the process in our blog post, How to Write a Strong Mission Statement. You can find it on our blog on 7shifts.com by searching How to Write a Mission Statement. The combination of high expectations, in-depth training, continuous support, and career growth all come together to create a workplace culture your staff will feel proud to be a part of. Happier, more motivated staff results in reduced turnover and better customer service. It's win-win for all aspects of your restaurant. So we've gone over a list of reasons why you should have a training manual. Now we're going to go through a list of things your training manual should have in it, and the reason why all of these sections are important. So let's get started. First, you should start your manual off with a restaurant overview. Whether you're running an independent restaurant or you're part of a franchise, you have a unique story to tell. Capture your staff's hearts and minds with the passion you have for your work. Talk about your restaurant's mission statement and core values and why they should be excited to work there. The opening overview section of your training guide should include your mission statement and what it means to staff, your vision for the restaurant and how you will achieve it together, a description of your average customer. Giving new staff an insight into who to expect allows them to do their own thinking, incorporate their own personalities into their work, and bring something fresh to the table. A description of your work culture. Here's where you get to show your empathetic and supportive side. New team members will appreciate this, and it will help get your relationship started on the right foot. And finally, the overview section should include generic restaurant information, including its address, directions to the location, public transit routes, phone number, URL, and more. Since this section is all about your restaurant and a little bit about you as an owner or manager, it's crucial you make it sound human. You don't want to preach to them. Instead, make it positive and inclusive. Let your new employees know that you're all on a journey together and that you can't do it without their help. Including your staff in your vision shows you appreciate their work and care about their career development. They'll see you as a human, not just another boss. The restaurant overview is your opportunity to get everyone pumped up about being a part of your team. Second, your training manual should include all of your restaurant's job guidelines and procedures. Once you've built some excitement and inspiration in your overview section, it's time to get into the details of your new employees' roles and responsibilities. Again, make this section as human-sounding as possible. Avoid dictating tasks and using complex jargon, and to make every role sound like it's an essential part in the operation. Let employees in different positions know how they will rely on each other, working together for a larger common goal. Break down roles and responsibilities by teams. So you'll have a server training manual as well as one for bartenders and kitchen staff. This section is where you should set your expectations too, highlighting your service standards, dress code, and little hacks to avoid any mistakes and keep the wheels turning smoothly. Let's recap some of the things this section should include. It should lay out responsibilities for each department. Be as detailed as possible without sounding preachy. Write your training guide in the same language you would use if you were coaching them in person. It should communicate your dress code rules and expectations. It should lay out all your rules and procedures for kitchen safety, including cleaning and sanitizing instructions. And finally, it should include health guidelines. To help monitor your employees' health and get real-time updates, we created a new feature that's available free for all 7shifts users. It lets you monitor everyone's health and get real-time updates if someone fails a health check. The guidelines and procedures section will be even more effective if you can make it as visual as possible. A map or flow of your restaurant's process is much more engaging and memorable than an endless list of tasks. Better yet, create video content that you can share with your new staff digitally. Video paints a more detailed picture, and it gives you the opportunity to include staff members in its production, which will enhance the human aspect of your training. Another great thing about video content is that employees can review it whenever they need to on their own smartphones or devices. Third, you should have a section on COVID-19 health and safety. We're living in a new reality thanks to COVID-19 epidemic. As restaurants reopen, there will be a huge influx of new team members joining your team. So a dedicated COVID section is essential for the safety of all your staff and customers. A recent study from Bento Box found that 78% of customers said the biggest red flag for not returning to a restaurant was the health status of restaurant employees. Ensure everyone's safety by taking extra precautions. By properly training staff members, you'll help avoid more costly closures. Here are some things you should include in your COVID-19 section. Resources illustrating government hygiene standards and best practices. Information on what to do in certain situations. For example, if a staff member is feeling unwell, or if a customer or staff member tests positive for the coronavirus, or if contact tracing becomes necessary. Tips for effective health-related communication between staff and customers. If you'd like to learn even more about operating your restaurant in the pandemic, check out the comprehensive COVID-19 resources section of our website. Fourth, you should include how-to guides for all the technology your restaurant uses. An activity or piece of technology that's second nature to you may be completely alien to your new hires. So make sure you create in-depth documentation on how to use your POS systems, ordering apps, employee scheduling software, and other systems you have in place. While you can't watch over everybody's shoulder while they figure things out, keeping these documents next to your POS systems will significantly speed up training and reduce costly errors. Here are some things to include in your technology section. Detailed instructions on how to use the POS system. Include information about how to edit and delete orders, amend bills, communicate with the kitchen, and other useful tips. A guide to your shift scheduling procedures. Let them know how to communicate with management to request, swap, and cancel shifts. And finally, and this is very important, this section should include best practices and procedures for handling online orders. Why is it so important? Because COVID-19 changed the way your customers buy food. Far more people are ordering food online for delivery or carryout rather than dining in. Online orders will probably be a large source of your restaurant's revenue for the foreseeable future, so it's vital that everyone on your staff know how to handle them correctly. The fifth section in your training manual should include information about your customers. Your restaurant will attract a certain demographic of customers who will have their own unique set of expectations. The more detailed insights you can provide about your customers, their behavior, and their overall vibe, the faster your new team members will adapt to their roles. It will also help them overcome issues and obstacles with greater assurance. Here are some things to include in your customer information section. Create a guest profile. Include average age, party size, reason for visit, average spend, customer service expectations, and potential challenges. Provide tips and information about how to respond to and deal with difficult customers. Include restaurant policies that customers are expected to follow. Provide some real-life scenarios or examples so new hires can see your practices in action. For example, provide a story about how a particularly difficult customer was handled. In this section, it's a good idea to include a test or quiz so new hires fully absorb and understand this information. The sixth section in your training manual should be a customer service guide. Your restaurant's perfect location and unique menu mean nothing if your service is below par. Customer service is arguably the most important aspect of your restaurant, and your server training manual sets the standard of service your staff will provide. Even before a new team member's training begins, you can set simple tasks that will help them understand customer expectations. Get them to read through your reviews on Google, Yelp, TripAdvisor, and OpenTable. It'll provide a glimpse into the people they'll be serving, and there'll be some useful do's and don'ts in there that they can take into their first shift. It takes an average 2 to 3 months to hire and train new staff. That's a considerable time frame that could result in bad service and a loss of repeat business along the way. The time between losing an experienced team member and training someone new is yet another reason why lowering your staff turnover should be top of your to-do list. Here are some things to include in your customer service section. Spell out your service standards. Include table setting, taking orders, serving food, clearing tables, and other key duties. Give clear guidelines about customer communication. Include server scripts on how to communicate deals, upsell items, explain dishes, and show them how to handle unhappy customers. Teach new hires how to make every customer's dining experience an 11. This could include tips on positivity, body language, helping customers celebrate occasions, and how to enhance the customer experience in general. Give tips on how employees can continuously improve their performance. Encourage employees to visit other restaurants to see how they do things and see what ideas they can pick up to improve their own service. And remember, customer service is an attitude as well as a skill. Food service skills can be taught. Remember, when you're interviewing new staff, be sure to look for a positive attitude and a passion for doing great work. The seventh section of your manual should lay out expectations and procedures for working the closing shift. We've all been there, waving goodbye to the last customer and hoping we'll be following them out the door very soon. But that's always a pipe dream, because there are always many closing tasks that need to be completed. Your staff should understand that their shift only ends when everything is in place for tomorrow's shift to start. Create a clear checklist of tasks with designated roles for each person, and be sure to emphasize the importance of teamwork so you can all get out of there sooner. It should include some heartfelt and sincere closing acknowledgments. Start by thanking them for their time and commitment to reading and learning your training manual. Like you did when they signed their contract and other health and safety guidelines, you should request their signature to confirm they have read, understood, and acknowledged their training and expectations. You should also include a test or quiz. Whether you administer it when they finish the manual or complete their full training is up to you. It's a great way to reinforce your expectations and ensure everyone keeps referring to the manual for constant training and improvement. Anyone can create a test or questionnaire with Google Forms. Think of all the questions and tasks new staff will need to know. Answers on the test can be multiple choice or written. Send it out to them and make sure they complete before or after their first shift. Once the tests are complete, you'll get all the answers in an organized spreadsheet. And finally, close the document with a message written by you. Tell them you're grateful to have them on board and that you're excited about where the restaurant is going and that you can't do it without them. Make your staff part of your restaurant rather than just your workers. Share your vision and success with them, and they'll stick with you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the 7 Shifts audio series. To listen to more great content for restaurateurs, check out 7shifts.com/blog. Or to learn more about how 7 Shifts can simplify labor management in your restaurant, visit 7shifts.com.